Today we are going to talk about something that seems obvious, but actually a lot of people don't really know about, and that is how your food actually moves through the digestive system. Because we stand up and we picture our digestive system starting from our mouth and ending at the bottom, we sometimes forget that it's not just a straight line down through our body. There's a ton of twists and turns in our intestines. And so our body has to have some mechanism that will actually push our food through those twists and turns as it's being broken down and digested and absorbed. That movement is called peristalsis, and that peristalsis is stimulated by something called the migrating motor complex, the MMC. That's what we're going to talk about today, because a lot of you have a sense or a feeling that food gets stuck. Do you ever have that feeling where it feels like it's not moving? You're not necessarily constipated, but things just feel stuck. And if you could just get it to move through, you would feel relieved. A lot of times that's connected to the fact that there's some breakdown in your migrating motor complex actually stimulating the movement to push that food through. So here's what it is. The migrating motor complex is basically a nerve system, and it sends the nerve impulses to the intestines to kind of push things through. So what we can do to help stimulate that movement are actually a few very easy, very mostly free things. The number one thing to know about the migrating motor complex is that it can only function when you're not eating. Okay, so think about that. If you're eating food, you don't want it to be moved through your system right away. You want a chance to break it down. You want a chance to let your body absorb it before it starts immediately moving through. So what happens when we start eating is that migrating motor complex turns off. So the very first thing that you can do to help make sure that your body has an opportunity to start moving food through it is to implement gut rest. Very simple. I usually recommend 3 to 4 hours of gut rest in between your meals. So essentially what that means is 3 to 4 hours in between your meals where you're not eating anything. You can drink water, that's no big deal. You can drink electrolytes. You can drink and have things that are easily absorbed into the cells, but nothing that's going to require digestion to be broken down, okay? Now, I like to add something at this point because that can sound a lot like, oh, this is a diet thing. I'm not allowed to eat in between for 3 hours. If you're hungry and you require something to eat, then you should eat. If you're not having a huge problem with this, then maybe this isn't the top of your priority list, right? A few weeks ago, we talked about how to decide on what your priorities are actually needing to be. However, if the problem is that you feel like your food's not moving through, but you cannot go 3 to 4 hours without feeling hungry, then you need to work with somebody and figure out how are you creating meals, because there's something missing there. You should be able to sustain 3 hours without feeling ravenous. And if not, then it's just a matter of tweaking a few things to make sure that the meals you are having are created in a way that are going to give you energy and let you feel that sustained sense of fullness and satisfaction. Okay, so gut rest is the first thing. The second thing that you can do is ginger. Ginger stimulates the migrating motor complex. So oftentimes I will recommend that for people who are having a hard time with this, using ginger in between meals. And I know that sometimes that can be a really tricky thing because it's hard enough to remember to take supplements as it is, but to then time them between meals can sometimes feel like a lot. Set an alarm, give it a try. If you're really struggling with this, it's an easy thing to try. Ginger can be ginger tea that you buy in like a packet, You can actually just chew on ginger if that's your thing. You can steep some ginger in hot tea and make it yourself. You can mix it with lemon. Some people do those ginger lemon shots. You can suck on ginger candy. You could take a ginger capsule. So if you really hate the taste of ginger but want to try this, ginger capsules at your like CVS or local place like that are super cheap. You could try those, see if it helps. Between meals, there's no super scientific recommendation. I typically say anywhere between 30 and 60 minutes after a meal during that 3 to 4 hour gut rest. Okay, so you could try that. Another thing that helps to stimulate the migrating motor complex is gargling, which I'm not going to demonstrate for you, but you get the idea. You kind of put water like you do with mouthwash and just kind of gargle because it hits the nerves here that stimulate that movement. Also humming, that vibration back here can be really helpful. And singing, actually. I know a couple of people who, when they were more active in singing as sort of a hobby of theirs, they had less digestive issues. And that could be for several reasons, but one of which we really think is because she was stimulating her migrating motor complex a lot. So these are really, really stupid easy things that are foundational that you can try, especially if you are having that feeling of food being stuck. If you feel that, grab some ginger, start humming. There's lots of ways that you can help turn this system on when it needs to be turned on. But remember, when you're eating, you don't really want it to be working. So don't start taking ginger capsules with meals. You're not going to notice very much. Take them in between your meals instead. Okay? So I hope that this is super helpful. If you have any questions, if this works for you, please leave us a comment, like and subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends, let us know what other GI related issues you have at the top of your list. We'll get you some action that you can take. Looking forward to talking to you next week. Bye guys.